Quest to Succeed. Chapter 27. Jay's new house was a 3-bedroom terrace property. They did not make any inquiries about the new locality and faced some problems. There were not many shops in the area, and they had to go shopping at the high street, which was about half a mile away. They all went to Seaside in summer of that year. In the new academic year, both the children started to attend the local primary school, where they adjusted themselves well. When both the children were in school, Rena started a part-time job. Jay used to drop them at 9 a.m., and Rena collected them at 3:30 p.m. He did not have a telephone at his home. Children used to stay on their own during the summer holiday. At lunchtime, he used to come home from the office to visit them. Sometimes he was at the house only for a few minutes, but he felt contented that they were safe and they had no conundrum. He hardly felt tired. He used to run from station to home and back to reach office within an hour. When Jay and his family settled down to their routine in the new house, he wanted to know all about the behavior of Nakul's family in New Delhi and the extended family in general. He asked his children, how did they like their new house in London? His son said that the house was much bigger than the kitchen in New Delhi. Rena attempted to stop him from speaking about that, but Jay understood what he wanted to apprise. She also tried to brush aside Jay's inquiries about the children's life in his absence. He did not insist for any clarification or elaboration. He had already discovered from a confidant, because the bitter truth never hides. There was a difference in points of view towards money in India, the Indian communities overseas, and the European people. In poor countries like India, money was a symbol of prestige and status. The rich obtained respect and happiness from their high earnings and business profits. On the contrary, Jay was more inclined to live the British way of life. In European countries, where necessities have been met, money did not necessarily provide happiness. They look to health, social help, welfare of all. Families like to go on holiday and eat out. Along with doing his job, Jay was studying for a degree course. In order to take the first-year examination and to prepare for it, he applied for study leave at the office through his section in charge. It was customary in the civil service that employees who wanted to enhance their qualification were provided financial assistance and time off to take the examination. When Jay applied for leave and reimbursement of examination fee, his section in charge questioned him. How did he find out about this facility, and why should he be given financial assistance and time off? This showed his frame of mind and prejudice. The section in charge was an old man who had served in the British Indian Army in Southeast Asia during the Second World War. He was fed information about imperialism and colonialism. The British had ruled India for 90 years and looked down upon the Indians as defeated people. He saw Jay as an Indian and not as a resident British citizen who paid tax to the British government. He therefore did not support his application. Consequently, he, Jay, did not receive time off or reimbursement of the examination fee. He, therefore, took his own annual leave to take the examination and paid the fee by himself. The head of department asked him whether he wanted to appeal for the fee recompense. Jay brushed aside and politely said that there should have been a reason for the decision. In his heart, however, he felt that a man belonging to a country which robbed India for 200 years or more, stole $45 trillion worth of wealth at the current rate, was asking a proud Indian by birth that he should appeal for an £8 financial assistance. He did not care for that, but he wanted to follow the administrative system in the civil service, which provided aid to enhance education to its employees. Some of his office colleagues asked him what was he going to do after finishing the degree course. Jay saw education as an investment, and one day it would bring dividends by acquiring qualification. He explained to his colleagues, some of whom had become his friends, that people study to improve their status, better job prospects, and because of ambition and interests. Activities could be divided into 2 categories, one to enjoy and the other for the sake of doing them. He continued his explanation that life was what you want to make it. Smooth living was not very progressive. People ought to work hard and concentrate on the goals they wish to accomplish, For that, a quest to succeed was essential. This would require peace of mind, stability, discipline, humility, and constant effort. These were the essential ingredients for good human existence. After passing his first-year examination, Jay decided to study full-time for Part 2 of his degree course. He did not resign his post but took study leave without pay. His local education authority provided him a study grant. He enjoyed his course where he learned new subjects and gained new knowledge. When he applied for study leave without pay, the head of section was not present. He saw the deputy head, who told him that we should send the leave application form to the personnel department immediately because the head might not support it. The study leave without pay was granted because it had the support of the deputy head of the section. Jay started his Part 2 of the degree course as a full-time student, which he enjoyed. He was always busy studying and reading books at home, but sometimes at the university library or at the local library. He did not go on holiday in the summer, but worked to earn money to pay his council tax. His education grant was sufficient to meet the other expenses and pay bills. After completing the degree course, he decided to change his career. He could not have used his skills and knowledge in a government office which dealt with routine work. He thought of returning to teaching profession after a big gap. Jay could teach economics, mathematics, and geography. He started to make applications to schools and education authorities. An inspector of schools at a local education authority invited him for an interview. He did not ask any questions, but suggested to Jay that he could easily teach mathematics and geography at school because economics was not a school subject. Jay accepted the suggestion. A few days later, he received another letter from a school secretary who asked him to come to school. On reaching the school, he was seen by the head of mathematics, who said that they need 1.8 teachers in the department, and asked Jay to teach 0.8 in his department and 0.2 in geography department. Jay told him that he wanted to teach only one subject at that time. The head of mathematics agreed to take him full-time in his department. Jay found the department well organized, and the other teachers looked friendly. He started to teach at a comprehensive school where there was no selection procedure based on achievement in primary school. Students were of all abilities and many races who attended the institution. It was a boys' center of learning. Girls attended this place for the advanced level subjects, where the number of students was small. Separate classes in all the disciplines would have been expensive, and resources were not available in specialist subjects. It was understandable and a step in the right direction. Jay was asked by his friends in India about his teaching job and other aspects of life in Britain. He did not want to criticize any system or country. He had lived in 2 countries with distinct levels of economic development. He wrote that these were his personal views, which he had not discussed with anyone. Britain was an industrial country which faced the problems of industrial relations, inflation, discipline, delinquency, and congestion, while India was an agricultural nation facing transformation. It was confronted with the concerns of overpopulation, malnutrition, unemployment, and the standard of living. It was attempting to find solutions to overcome the traditional chains of social customs and to modernize without giving up essentials of the national spirit, cultural and social institutions. Because of imperialism, colonialism, and occupation of the land by sword-swirling invaders, India had been misrepresented, and her real virtues and cultures had been suppressed. The invaders always felt that their systems were better than those of the original residents of India, who had been overwhelmed. Many residents in Indian states and provinces were rooted out from their ancestral homes. They had been forced to live in other parts of the country and sometimes in other parts of the world. The previous invaders were defeated by the British, but when the British left, the rulers and the people in power returned to their old tricks of grabbing land from the poor and other residents of India. Jay's family was no exception. His ancestors had to leave their homes, move out from northwest Sindh to West Punjab, and again to central Punjab. They settled in Lahore and the surrounding districts, but the fate would have it differently. They had to pack up and march again to Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Iran, Greece, United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States of America. Jay's colleagues and friends in London wanted to know about India, as he was of Indian origin. He therefore pondered over the Indian system. After all, it was the largest democracy in the world. The success was still to be seen. There had been political upheavals in the developing countries, even across the borders in China and Pakistan. How did democracy survive in India for more than 30 years since independence in 1947? Despite mass ignorance, immense poverty, and vast unemployment, India's major achievements had been visible in the field of education. Primary education was provided to fight ignorance. The secondary education was geared to produce talents. The higher education had been designed to produce professionals and administrators. India had twice as many engineers as Western Europe. She was supplying a pool of engineers, doctors, and technocrats to the United States of America, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, and the Arab countries. The brain drain has impeded economic progress in India. In the 21st century, the Indian governments, both central and state, have made efforts to become self-sufficient and export-orientated in manufacturing sector as well as in the field of defense. Jay stressed that the developing countries should utilize their resources, both human and natural, for the benefit of their people. Because of feudalism and imperialism, India's economy had suffered for hundreds of years. The Indian cotton industry was brutally destroyed by the British in the 18th and 19th centuries.